Hey there, it's Corey the Yard Buddha, and I am out in a neighbor's yard doing a little yard project. He has had some creeping bentgrass invading his front yard here. And so this project is going to entail a bit of glyphosate or Roundup. We're going to kill all this stuff off, so I'm going to spray glyphosate on all these areas here where the creeping bent grass is starting to come in. I did kind of mention to him that it might be worthwhile just doing the entire yard, but for right now we're just going to spray certain patches. It's all along the side there too. He doesn't have it in his backyard, but it is starting to kind of take over the Kentucky bluegrass that was already in there. This is a cool season lawn. We're up in the Pacific Northwest in Spokane, and he wasn't quite sure what here was kind of slowly invading everything in his yard, but I am pretty sure that it is a creeping bent grass, and it's probably 50% of this front yard here. So I'm going to spray the glyphosate and kill everything that I can see, and then I'll come back in a little bit, see what has died, and if there's still a bunch of little portions in the rest of his yard, and we may end up just killing out the whole thing. And then in a couple weeks here we will reseed everything after we take out all the dead stuff and put in some new seed. It is kind of the late part of August, so we still have about a month and a half for our reseeding window here, where it's nice and mild temperatures in the 70s and 80s, and this is the perfect time to do it. So I'll show you here what it looks like after everything dies. Okay, so this is about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks after applying a couple different doses of Roundup on here. Definitely starting to die off. I think the problem was it didn't die off too quick because he had mowed it so short, and so the Roundup, the glyphosate, couldn't really get into the green part of the leaves that quickly, but we're gonna get it. Got this part, and then we got this whole huge area over here, which was starting to go into the neighbor's yard as well. And so I figured if I'm going to do this area, I'm going to do it all at the same time. So right now there's still a little green in there. I am going to dethatch this a little bit, then probably spray another round of glyphosate, of Roundup, on top of that, and then in about a week, maybe 10 days or so, we'll come back and put some seed down. This all the spots in this front yard. Yeah, I know. Probably should have been a complete yard project remodel, but this is how it's gonna work right now. Alright, I'm on a very important day in this yard reseeding project. I have gotten all the soil prepared. I dethatched this, and then I actually came through with my weed whacker and shaved it down as close as I could. And so today we are putting on some compost. I've already hit these spots here, and what I'm using is a 3-way compost of organic vegetable matter, a little bit of decomposed bark, and some cow manure. And I've had really good luck in my yard reseeding with this, so I'm using that green roller over there, and I'm just loading barrels at a time, and it actually goes pretty quick. And any big stuff that doesn't go through those slats, I'll just end up stacking over here, and he can use them in his yard to spread around his plants or whatever. But I got most of this creeping bentgrass dead and out of here, and so today we're going to get the compost down and then do a layer of seed, Turf Type Tall Fescue, and then I'm going to cover it up with some peat moss with my roller as well. So this is what this front yard looks like. With that creeping bentgrass, you got to take out a lot more than you think, and so these holes ended up probably about a foot wider than the creeping bentgrass was. But we're gonna get this stuff dead, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get all the seed put on there, and then I'll come back with the peat moss to cover it up. Alright, so I got everything nice and coated with compost here, and now we're going to put the seed down. Got about 20 pounds in here. I'm estimating I have about 2,000 square feet with all these different areas back here, so it's about 10 pounds per 1,000 square foot. And then this is the seed I'm using, GCI Turf Type blend. I have here's the specs here. It is Falcon, Saltillo, and Coronado, all made in Oregon there. So we're in Washington, just a few hours away, so I figured if it grows there, it should grow here too. So let's get this seed spread out here, see what it looks like. Alright, here's this yard after the seed has been put down. I put down a layer of peat moss all over the top of everything, and now it's kind of in the client's hands to keep things moist and watered here. So I told them to water at least 2 or 3 times a day. It's only in the 70s here right now, so maybe in the morning and in the afternoon or late afternoon. So I've got about 15 to 20 pounds of seed on there, and then 3 big bags of peat moss. I used my roller and rolled it on, and that went really smoothly. So now let's just hope that we get some good growing weather here and this stuff sprouts up soon, and I'll show you when it does. Alright, this is this grass project about 2 weeks after we planted the seeds, almost exactly 2 weeks. This is all grown in nicely. Over here, it probably started germinating about 10 days after we planted the seed. We did have some cold nights. It got down into like the 40s, and the high was about 65 for a couple days, but then got back up into the 70s, and the stuff really took off here. So here are some of these other spots that he's got that are coming in nicely. The key again is just to keep it nice and moist. That peat moss on top definitely helps retain a lot of that moisture in there. And then he trimmed a bunch of these trees, and they ended up falling on some of these spots over here, and it hasn't gotten the sunlight. The trees, the branches were on there for like 4 or 5 days, so that still has little ways to go to fill in, but you kind of see these big areas up front. They're all getting nice and dense. We got about one more week left here in September, and then hopefully get some decent weather in October, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like in a couple weeks. Alright guys, this is what the grass is looking like about a week and a half after I last took that video. It is October the 6th, and it is 74 degrees here today, and tomorrow is supposed to be 55 degrees, and probably this will be the hottest day for the rest of the year. So I just wanted to take a shot of this grass before it starts getting cold. It's not supposed to get down to freezing for a while. It's supposed to get down into like the high 30s and stuff, but if you can see this grass seed, it should be fine for the frost. It's at least 2 or 3 inches high, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so this is about a week after my last video. It has actually gotten down freezing, down like 28, 26 last couple days, and this stuff is surviving just nice. So it's gonna do great here this winter, not worried about it. And my whole thought process and plan with this was just to get that creeping bentgrass dead and get this in here this spring, and then next spring we are going to blend everything in with his remaining grass here, this Kentucky bluegrass. So it may not seem blended in right now, but we do have the bad stuff dead and new stuff growing, and that's exactly what we wanted. He does have a little bit of a bare area over there, which probably is not going to seed in this winter, fall, just because we had some branches sitting down on there for a few days, but that is okay. We are going to blend everything in nicely next spring, and I just wanted to tell you I'm not a professional grass maintenance guy by any means, so all I used with this project was a sprayer to spray the Roundup, a weed whacker to shave everything down, which is probably the best thing that you can do. I did have a Still Yard Boss kind of multi-tool dethatcher, which did a little bit of help, but I'm telling you, the weed whacker was probably the best thing just to get this stuff down to dirt. And then my biggest time-saving piece of equipment was that big green roller compost spreader to put the compost in and spread it across the top, and then also put the peat moss in and spread it over this whole thing. But I'm very happy how even this huge area turned out. There are kind of some crispy edges that we will blend in next spring, but that's kind of the plan to begin with, is just to eliminate the creeping bentgrass, and then next spring we will blend all this other stuff in. So I appreciate you guys watching this project. It was a little bigger than I thought it would be, but I did have fun, so we'll see you later. Give me a subscribe.